Hello, friends. This is Cosmic Fire Webinar Commentaries number 19A. I failed to say that we ended at 18B. This was page 36 of the Paths of Higher Evolution compilation, including information from Initiation, Human and Solar, and also the rays and the initiations, as well as Cosmic Fire, which we have been working in. So now we have reached the point where we can begin to consider the path of magnetic work. This is the second path. From Initiation, Human and Solar, we read, those who do the work of wielding forces or electrical magnetism for the use of the great ones on all the planes pass to this pass, wielding, manipulating specific types of energy, force, and basically electricity of all kinds. They wield the elemental formative energy, and I suppose this is the energy of the atoms and molecules as they are found on the different planes, manipulating matter of every density and vibration. So they know all the keynotes of the planes, the frequencies, all concerning the state of vibration of matter of any plane. Okay, it's an interesting path. So much to do with cosmic electricity. And thus with Vohat. Great waves of ideas and surging currents of public opinion on astral levels as well as on the higher levels where the great ones work are manipulated by them. Notice how the third ray word, manipulation, enters here. The third and fifth rays are closely connected, as we have seen from Esoteric Psychology 1 at the end of the section describing the rays. It's about page 210 or so, 211 or 12 right here. Between the third and fifth rays there is a close relationship. In the search after knowledge, for example, the most laborious and minute study of detail is the path that will be followed, whether in philosophy, the higher mathematics, or in the pursuit of practical science. So we see the connection and why the word manipulation can be used. Also, the word web is used in both. With the, let's see, I'll show you what I mean. Here, the web eternal. This is a fifth ray stanza concerning the Blessed One. He sought among the many threads that weave the outer garment of the Lord, and found the many ways there be, leading to the center of the web eternal. The forms that weave that web hide the divine reality. He lost himself. And here he asked himself, another pattern must be woven, another garment formed. What shall I do? Shew me another way to weave. So the word manipulation, also the word weave, is used with both. But perhaps for the fifth ray type, there is greater attention to what I might call energy specificity. Great waves of ideas and surging waves of ideas, I suppose, from the triadal levels, and surging currents of public opinion on astral levels as well as the higher levels where the great ones work, are manipulated by them. So directed, modulated, applied according to their vision. Now this is one of the most interesting sentences. A large number of fifth-ray people, and then he explains what that means, those who have the ray of concrete knowledge for their monadic ray pass to this line of endeavor. And notice that he calls them people, which is usually a term reserved for persons. But there are fifth-ray monadic types and sixth-ray monadic types, as I have demonstrated through references quite often. And here, this ability to manipulate specific types of energy with exactitude. Manipulating specific types of energy with exactitude. This is the point. Maybe the third-ray type would work more in general and not with such attention to vibrational exactitude. The inherent quality in the type of the monad settles usually the line of activity. And this is a general statement that the monadic ray often will determine which path is to be taken, even though these paths of higher evolution are not paths of higher evolution, are not ray paths. The karma of the fifth ray is one of the factors which produces this. What is the this? Produces this. Well, and the karma of the fifth ray, on what level, we have to ask. On what level? Is it Venusian? Or is it a cosmic level of which we are speaking? I.e. from the cosmic fifth ray Lord. These monads work with Fohat and must to the end of the greater Manvantara, and there are other Manvantaras, but the, quote, as it says here, greater Manvantara seems a Maha Manvantara. Manvantaras, okay. So they work with Fohat. And, you know, the way of describing that, although it is difficult really to get a handle on it, is cosmic electricity with polarity. And with the law of attraction, as that is expressed through cosmic electricity. They have their eventual position on the cosmic mental plane. Okay. The fifth ray, okay. The fifth ray, well, that's first ray monads. Fifth ray monads will work their way to the cosmic mental plane, which tells us that this path of, okay, which tells us that this, right, tells us that this path of magnetic work is not their last path, but as DK tells us, they will alchemize themselves onto the seventh, onto the path of absolute sonship. And the focus of this seventh path is the cosmic mental plane. But as yet the capacity for abstract thought is so little developed that it is impossible for us to comprehend the significance of this expression. I think even now the capacity for abstract thought is little developed. So basically, abstract, in the sixth sub-race of the present fifth root race, it will not be so much, we are told, intuition that is developed, though there will be a line to it, but the capacity for abstract thought will be developed in this sixth sub-race, which is now shaping up in certain countries. Of course, we have a globalized society, but particularly in the United States, in Australia, New Zealand, maybe in parts of Europe as well. This sixth sub-race of the fifth root race is coming in with the power for abstract thought. So anyway, we learned something there about the fifth ray monad and about its relationship to Fohat, and with the eventual destination of these fifth ray types onto the cosmic mental plane, which of course only makes sense. Sirius has a strong connection to the cosmic mental plane. One might wonder whether a involvement of Sirius would not come to these types. But of course, they have plenty of Manas, or even more, Mahat, which is a more, I think, a more cosmic type of mind and a more a concrete and energy-specific application of the mind. Okay, now we're going to look here at the cosmic fire section. He, in a way, he didn't tell us much, so he says, in these early initiation, human and solar paragraphs, but when you read the other material, you realize how much he really did tell us. So, there are many billions of monads of different types, and a number of billions, I suppose, are going to be involved here. He did not tell us in our solar system how many billions of monads of attribute there were. One wonders whether he included them all under the third ray monadic type, or whether we are just looking at the major monadic rays when he speaks of the first, second, and third, and one can have any type of monadic subray. Check out page 176 of the Cosmic Fire. So in considering this path, students must bear in mind that they are dealing with that path which, of all the seven, expresses most fully the law of attraction. Well, this is interesting. You might say, so why then the fifth ray monads? But the second and fifth rays are closely related, and he tells us to study them as if they were, even more than the second and the sixth. And then there are the technicalities of how the law of attraction works. And the fifth ray monads working with cosmic electricity and Fohat will understand this. So second law, second path, and also Gemini is involved, we understand, with this particular law and this particular path, Gemini wielding or transmitting the second ray. It will be remembered by those who have carefully read this treatise that this law is the expression of the spiritual will, which produces the manifestation of the sun. Okay, the law of attraction, I guess he's saying, law of attraction produces the manifestation of the Son of God. Son of God. Son. Okay. I think it's time to have a Son of God in here, don't you think? So let's do that. Son of God. Son of God, the Solar Logos. Oh, it's already there. No need to replace it. Okay. Okay, Son, the Son of God. Right. But in order to do that properly, there has to be, unfortunately, a quotation mark at the end. All right, so now we're better. Okay, yes, and okay. Magnetism, physical, attractive, dynamic. So the three aspects here are mentioned. Physical, attractive, or dynamic is the expression of the law in the three worlds as far as the human unit is concerned. The human unit is very much under the second ray increasingly. Okay, INCRY, INCRL. Okay, INCRL. Increasingly. Okay. It will be apparent, therefore, that the adept who passes upon this path is dealing with that reality which is the basis of all coherency in nature. It's like that aspect of Fohat which is called Eros. It's a second aspect of Fohat. And this is, we might call it the science of coherency. A blend of the fifth and second rays. And with that essence which, through the force of its own innate quality, produces the attractive energy which brings together the pairs of opposites. But it's an essence, it's an energy, I suppose, which through the force of its own innate quality produces that the attractive energy which brings together the pairs of opposites. So, we see on a lower turn of the spiral, we see the work of Venus with its fifth and second rays and its power to draw together the pairs of opposites. So, again, it will be apparent, therefore, that the adept who passes upon this path is dealing with that reality which is the basis of all coherency in nature. Some form of energy, some form of energy. Some form of energy which produces coherence in nature. And I suppose in nature maybe, in nature means perhaps in the lower worlds, but not necessarily limited to that entirely. And with that essence, which through the force of its own innate quality produces the attractive energy, which brings together the pairs of opposites, so one thinks here of gravitation. as a great magnetic attractive force. It is the force which is responsible for the interplay of electrical phenomena of every kind. So the law of attraction and its relation to electricity. The adept who chooses this cosmic stream of energy upon which to make certain cosmic approaches later, I suppose, later, and upon which to make a series of cosmic unfoldments is one who has worked primarily upon the second ray path prior to the fifth initiation. So what this could mean? This could mean second ray triads, souls, and fifth ray monads. So he's worked primarily upon the second path prior to the fifth initiation, because even at the fifth initiation there is still the presence of the soul ray, which is really the triadal ray. And this is unusual thought perhaps, but this ray does persist even though the monadic ray is taking over. I wonder about the relative balance of the two, because it is the ray of the triad, and the master is focused in Atma, and the Atmic permanent atom is ruled by this particular triadal ray, as are all the other permanent atoms of the spiritual triad, and that is the soul ray. Even though there is no more encapsulated soul on the higher mental plane. So the fifth and the second rays are involved. Venus, and you know, as I say, Sirius is a fifth and second ray star. And second ray star, and of course also the sixth ray, and who frequently has been upon the fourth ray path. Now, what's fourth ray, and who frequently has been upon the fourth ray path. Now, this does not mean the path to Sirius, because he's calling it a ray path. So the fourth path, of course, is the path to Sirius, but here it's being called a ray path. Adepts who have been upon the fourth ray path and who pass thence upon the second ray do not, as a rule, choose this cosmic line of endeavor. So, so if after adeptship, so let's say, if one is a fourth ray soul until adeptship, and this is possible, and at adeptship passes to the second ray, in the triadal nature, then they do not, in general, pass to this second cosmic path. Okay. CSPT. CSP. Okay, let's do that. We just need something that says cosmic path. And that will be cosmic path. So this is interesting, but it has to be read carefully. The fourth ray path is, I suppose, a soul path. Probably a soul path. Adepts who have been upon the fourth ray and who pass thence while an adept, I suppose, thence, it seems to be when they are adepts upon the second ray, do not, as a rule, choose this cosmic line of endeavor. So it's possible to transfer rays. I guess what I'm gathering from this, that it is possible to transfer soul rays, which are really the, I'll call it the secondary triadal ray, at quite a high focus of evolution. In other words, this could happen, it looks like, at the third initiation, fourth, maybe even the fifth. It's really a change of triadal focus. And it's really, it amounts to a change of soul ray. It's kind of a Buddhic focus in the triad, but either one will do. Focus in the triad relates to either the second or either the fourth or second ray. So if we are fourth ray souls, i.e. really fourth ray triads in a secondary sense, and at some point in our higher evolution we, or maybe even after the third degree, and close to adeptship, we pass on to the second ray in the triadal sense, then this is not the path pursued. What we seem to see here let's see, I want to find this about the fifth ray. So, primarily a second ray, yes. Here it is. Those who go onto this path are the ones who have worked primarily upon the second ray prior to the fifth initiation. So, into the triad. Working on the second ray. And maybe even up to the fourth, maybe even up to the fifth initiation. But if instead the adept is working on the fourth ray almost up to the fifth initiation and then transfers triadally to the second, then he does not usually pursue this path. Well, I wonder how many of us are really fourth ray souls. This is a piece of information which is not perhaps applying to so many readers of the Tibetans' books, because they are, after all, a great number of fourth ray souls, or second ray souls, or, well, perhaps some second ray monads. Those who do the work of wielding forces or electrical magnetism for the use of the great ones on all the planes pass to this path. Now, we've read this, but it shows how technical the path can be. How technical this path can be. They wield the elemental formative energy, and you might say, if I didn't say it before, the energy which creates aggregated elementals. And maybe also atoms of, well, actually, maybe they don't do that, because the major atomic units have been created by Fohat, and then in the second outpouring they were molecularized, if you can say that. So the atomic units were utilized during the second outpouring. So it's not up to this type of group to create such, but they can wield and manipulate such. Manipulating matter of every density and vibration, this matter has been created and so forth. This is the repeat of what we just read, just reading it through. Great waves of ideas, surging currents of public opinion on astral levels as well as on the higher levels where work the great ones are manipulated by them. An energy-specific type of manipulation. A large number of fifth ray people, those who have the concrete ray of concrete knowledge for the monadic ray, pass to this line of endeavor. You might have to hunt a long time to find such a sentence which indicates to you definitively that there are fifth ray monads and what they do. The inherent quality in the type of the monad settles usually, it says settles the line of activity, and notice up here, the word usually is used. That has been extracted for some reason. We don't know why. But apparently in the earlier book, the word usually was used. Settles usually the line of activity. And right down here, as we read in Cosmic Fire, it says settles the line of activity. And we'll just put this in. Is this an editorial error, or did the Tibetan decide in bringing this idea forward that the word usually was not needed? So the word usually is missing from this sentence, and it was not in initiation, human and solar. The karma of the fifth ray, and I asked on what level, is one of the factors which produces this. These monads work with Fohat and must to the end of the greater Manvantara, the Mahamantara. They have their eventual position, moving on the cosmic mental plane, probably on the path of magnetic, path of absolute sonship, but as yet the capacity for abstract thought is so little developed that it is impossible for us to comprehend the significance of this expression. Well, certainly the cosmic mental plane is deeply connected with the fifth ray, cosmically considered, and Sirius is involved as that as well with its hypothetically fifth ray soul. 3 types of magnetic work have been mastered by the adept who treads this second path. 3 types of magnetic work. He has mastered in the 3 worlds the magical work of form construction through the manipulation of magnetic energy and the utilization of Fohatic attractive energy in order to bind the builders. So he has ability with the devas, probably with the sound formulas, and with building of concrete forms, probably for white magical purposes. He has mastered in the 3 worlds the magical work of form construction, because he does indicate in a way the 7th ray by saying that, the 7th and 5th ray being very closely related, through the manipulation of magnetic energy, probably through sound formulas. He talks about how the formulas will soon be embodied in sound and be much more powerful as a result, and who of course will do this but the 5th ray types, who combine their knowledge with that of the 7th ray. And the utilization of Fohatic attractive energy. I suppose there is all, there are 3 kinds of Fohatic energy as well, maybe even 7 with the 49 sons of Fohat. There are, let's say, 3 major kinds of Fohatic energy. And they would correspond with the 3 major rays, and not all of them are attractive. Some of them can be divisive, can be discriminated, dividing one type from another. Fohat must have had this kind of ability to divide when working with Mula Prakriti, however that was done. attractive energy in order to bind the builders. And that is, binding the builders is an act of concretization, right? Not blinding, but binding the builders is an act of concretization. Yes. This he does through the medium of a purified lower nature, which can act as a perfect transmitter. So clear and pure energy can be used, and thus glamour is dissipated first, because the fifth ray type is so proficient at the dissipation of glamour. We have to use the Absence Center and fifth ray methods to do this, and DK gives us the meditations to help us do this. Now, so this is one type of magnetism. We're talking about three types of magnetic work, and these are kind of like preliminaries, you might say. So we'll make this a little bigger. And I suppose this is the second type of magnetic work, I believe. The secret of group coherence on the higher levels of the mental plane in connection with his own planetary logos. Well, not necessarily the logos of the Earth scheme, because here on this planet are the types who belong to many of the planetary logi. So he has learned also the secret of group coherence. To see what holds the egoic groups together, you might say. Holds the egoic groups together. And we have learned it is often a certain structure of thought which holds them together. On the higher levels of the mental plane in connection with his own planetary logos, and with those two other logi who form with his own logos a systemic triangle within the solar system. So this is a big hint. Every planetary logos works with two other planetary logi to form a systemic triangle. So, you know, with Earth, well, you know, there's a couple with Earth, but let's say with Earth, we have Venus and Mercury forming one significant triangle. But I think this is pointing out the idea that this fifth path can be pursued by any human unit on any one of the planetary schemes. Not knowing the details here, but in principle, these are cosmic paths and relate to the way out of the solar system from any planetary scheme. He has passed on to a comprehension of the forces which unite the varying streams of living energy emanating from them in furthering the plans of solar evolution. So is this is the following, the third type of magnetic, what did he call it? Magnetic work. He has passed on to the comprehension of the forces which unite the various streams of living energy, emanating from them, and I suppose this means from the planetary logi, which with his own logos, with his own planetary logos, form a triangle. Comprehension of the forces which unite the varying streams of living energy emanating from them. So this is how to unite energies emanating from this planetary triangle in furthering the plans of solar evolution. So this is definitely higher work than facilitating the coherence of egoic groups on the higher mental plane. This becomes possible when he can function in the monadic vehicle and is conscious in that unit of force. He's calling, the monadic vehicle a unit of force, I suppose capable of directing force. Not just monadic energy, but monadic force. Well, not just shambolic energy, but the Shambhala force. Okay. So, yes, we have been given three types of magnetic work. One, building forms. Two, working at the coherence of egoic groups. How is this stated? The secret of group coherence on the higher levels of the mental plane and in connection with his own planetary logos. I suppose if you know the secret about it, you contribute something to it. And then number three, working as a monad in uniting streams of energy from three planetary logoi for the sake of solar evolution. A very high type of work. Let's say one would have to be an initiate of the 6th degree, because you are working, as he says, he can function in the monadic vehicle and not just in response to the monadic vehicle. It's a bit like the 3rd degree, where you function in the causal body and not just in response to the causal body. All right. This has been expressed in the old commentary in the following words, and this is a quotation I've often made or referred to. The 7 brothers love each other, yet each seeketh for many eons the path of hatred, or path of repulsion, due to difference. They hate and kill each other until they find that which dieth not and is not hurt. So they have to find their monadic nature within. It never dies. Together then they stand and serve, and through their service the 7 suns burn up. Well, this is a hint here, re solar chains. I don't think we're talking about 7 solar systems. Also, the 7, let's call them solar Kumaras, with the solar logos as the first Kumara in this group. So this is going to happen at the end of the solar system. And of course, in another way, the 7 sacred planets can be considered as 7 chakra suns within the expression of the solar logos. But anyway, it is an ultimate kind of event that occurs. And I guess the important thing to realize is that these brothers know how to wield energy, which will, in the end, produce coherence will not allow the differences in ray applications to form to separate them. But they take their stand and they can serve monadically and can wield the cosmic electricity which is unitive based upon their monadic perception. So they wield a form of cosmic electricity which is unitive based upon their monadic perception. At first, and before we perceive as the monad, before we can perceive as the monad, we go through many phases of lesser perception where difference and separation can enter. But even though the fifth ray rules the law of cleavages, it also is a great uniting factor, as we have seen in its names, correct? So its names, for instance, if we look here, maybe, I don't know, around page 75 or something, yeah, got lucky on that one. The Great Connector, see? This is one of the names which talks about its connection with Eros, or the second aspect of Fohat. One of the reasons for confusion when trying to understand energies is that they have so many different subsidiary aspects. And sometimes we can discuss them in relation to one of their aspects and other times another, and it seems like we're discussing two different things, and yet it's the same energy. Like, how can Fohat be at once attractive and manipulative and separative? It can be all those depending upon which aspect of Fohat is being expressed. And really there have to be 7 aspects, because we have the 49 sons of Fohat working with the planes and with form and basically through the Deva evolution. So together then they stand and serve, and through their service the 7 suns burn up, and we would say when? At the climax of the solar system, or any solar system. Okay. The 7 suns are destroyed because when synthesis and unity are reached, and when the differentiated forces, now, you know, the 5th ray is the best energy differentiator, if there is such a thing. It is the ray which is most keenly aware of minute energy differentiations. So the 7 suns are destroyed when synthesis and unity are reached, and when the differentiated forces become one homogeneous force. The attractive or magnetic effect of this coherence is a manifested unit on the physical plane as well as on the subjective side of nature. So we are moving here from differentiation to integration, and we're seeing how the this is an inevitable occurrence within a solar system or within any type of unit, and we're speaking largely of self-conscious units. So the 7 become the one, and the differentiated forces become the one homogeneous force, and the esoteric color of the 5th ray is indigo, the same color as the great synthetic ray in our solar system. So one homogeneous force, the attractive magnetic effect of this coherence is a manifested unit on the physical plane as well as on the subjective side of nature. So we're talking about synthesis, coherency, differentiation, giving way to integration, and finally to synthesis. I suppose what we could do is look at the order here from differentiation to integration to synthesis. This produces, see, the production or the emergence of the one produces the destruction of the many at the end. So this produces necessarily the destruction of all limiting forms, the merging of the fires, and the blazing forth into objectivity of the vital body of the Logos. We can say with its 7 sons, in this case, the planetary 7, perhaps, prior to the final abstraction and subsequent dying out or obscuration of the solar system. So, in a way, the etheric expression of the 7 sacred planets the etheric expression of the 7 sacred planets is like suns. And perhaps the 7 suns come there, although one has also to look at these. I think those are the chakras that we can be talking about. So it's an etheric blazing forth. Okay, I want to 7 sacred planets. Yes, okay, we have it there. All right. Now, the will or purpose aspect, which is the spiritual life behind all subjective and objective phenomena, suddenly makes itself felt and also seen. So this spiritual life is causing the destruction of the qualitatively subjective and also the objective phenomena. It is the production of this which is the main work of the adept, who passes on to path 2 from off his particular ray path. So it's quite clear. The ray path is the path which has been pursued on the soul triadal ray, with some influence perhaps from the monad, but the soul triadal ray, the secondary ray of the triad is the ray of the soul, okay? Soul triadal ray can carry the initiate to the 5th initiation. In other words, if the focus of the master is on the atmic plane, and if the ray of the atmic permanent atom is the same as the soul ray, which we are told it is in Esoteric Psychology 1, page 168 and 169, then that ray remains important for a long time. So this, let's just say, adepts or Chohans on this path help later with the absorption of the solar system. So it seems. Always, in any climax, there will be a coming together of differentiation. Let's see. I'm going to make that, if you don't mind, differentiation. A coming together of differentiation into one stream. And, you know, obviously the many must resolve into the one, but what kind of wielding of Fohat is necessary in order to make this happen? And these types of adepts know how to make the many into the one. Obviously, the law of attraction is involved, and also the law of synthesis. Those who tread the second path work with magnetic or attractive energy because they have identified themselves with it. Of course, this almost sounds like the ray path. Excuse me, identifying oneself as a monad with a particular quality of energy. Okay. So, they have identified themselves with magnetic or attractive energy, and eventually they will all, it says all, because there will be only 4 paths eventually. Eventually they will all pass on to path 7, which is the path of absolute sonship. All that can be said here in regard to their efforts is the statement that this path carries them through the medium of the logoic head center into the heart of the one about whom naught may be said. So this means that they still have a connection with our solar logos, and that this connection is required to pass onto a further and greater path. So does this mean that they do not leave the solar system? Do they not leave the solar system when working on the path of magnetic work? And let's see, very interesting, the logoic head center. Okay, so the logoic head center on what plane? Logoic head center on what plane? Because the logoic head center would be found upon the highest levels of the cosmic etheric planes on the logoic plane. So do they, or is this the head center of the logos on the cosmic astral plane? Would they have to descend again? They are swept out of systemic evolution altogether, and this may mean, of course, on the earlier path of magnetic work, they were working within systemic evolution. Upon a great tide of attractive energy which emanates from one of the major centers of that great existence, who is the source of life to the solar logos. So this can mean gravitation towards a cosmic logos, and to one of its stars, or to a constellational chakra within the one about whom naught may be said. Which would this be? Which would this path of magnetic work, not magnetic work, but absolute sunshift, towards what would it take them? We've talked about these different constellationist chakras within the one about whom naught may be said. We have the Great Bear, Little Bear, Orion, Draco. Draco is it's a high constellation. It is connected with the base of the spine, but at the same time it's very elevated in the sky. The dragon is between the two bears. And then, of course, there's our local constellation. I don't think it's that one. Well, anyway, this center is, of course, one of the 7 constellations. Yes, the unknown, as the one about whom naught may be said is called, has constellations for its chakras. And Treatise on Cosmic Fire, page 293. And it is the most potent constellation as far as our system is concerned, owing to the fact that this system predominantly expresses love or attractive energy. And our Logos is not yet polarized in his cosmic, is as yet polarized in his cosmic astral body. And as our Logos is as yet polarized in his cosmic astral body, it is not permitted to hint at the name of the constellation, not even to hint. The reason is that if the name were known and enough people could do the work of occult meditation and visualization, accompanying the work with a vivid imagination, it might be possible to attract into our system such a downpour of attractive energy from the constellation involved as to unduly speed up the processes of evolution upon our planet and thus upset the systemic economy most dangerously. And this I discussed just a little earlier, didn't I? People do not yet realize the potency of meditation, and especially of group meditation. Okay, well, let's call this the end of Cosmic Fire webinar commentaries number 19A, and we are on Path of Higher Evolution Compilation, page 43, and we will, beginning of Cosmic Fire webinar commentaries 19B, Path of Higher Evolution Compilation, page 43.